Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, I guess what we're working on. Rusty Crusty. Did get a few parts in the mail. We did get a new head gasket. I tried getting the whole set. The head gasket and intake and the tappet cover gasket. And of course, they didn't have it. But they were able to get me a head gasket. So that being the most important part, we could probably goober up the intake and get that to seal again. And if the exhaust leaks, I'm not going to cry too much. So, as you can see, there is a nice new shiny valve. And I have went through and pulled all the valves all the way down to this one. And I'm starting to figure out in the routine of how to do this. Since I've done it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, I'm starting to get used to it. And I thought maybe I'd show you how I did it and how I've been doing it and how I'm going to continue to do it. The valves down here are worse. That exhaust valve is the one that's been bothering me. This one did not look good under the seat, but and I haven't ground on it yet. So we're at this intake on this cylinder. And I just wanted to show you the valve because a lot of people think lapping valves is, going to solve all your issues, but it's not. All it's going to do is, you see that rust on there? That kind of pitted looking area? That's all we're going to get rid of. If there's big holes or, big pits, you're not going to get rid of those with just lapping. I mean, I suppose you could if you lapped on it for, 6 days, but if anybody's ever lapped valves, this evil tool right here is not your friend. So, but they don't really make much different. I mean, there's a couple machines that kind of do it, but for as much as I do valves, I guess we'll stick with the old suction cupper. So let me load this thing up here a little bit. We'll put some valve grinding compound on it and get you guys set up so you can see me go back and forth, back and forth. I actually thought about tying a string around it like a bow. You make like a fire starter, go back and forth. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Well, that's where I got you guys, kind of upside down and backwards, but at least I think you're in the shot. So all we're going to do here is we're going to put a little ring of compound here around the valve. Try to look in the camera to see if I'm in the shot and make a big mess. That's probably good. Good enough. Now I'm going to clean out the hole here a little bit with a rag just to make sure that this one looks really pretty good. So this exhaust valve isn't too bad. Then what I've been doing is just putting a little Earl on it. Give it a little dippy dip. If there's a lot of crud down in the hole, I've been knocking that out. That one looked pretty good. So these exhaust valves are a pain in the butt because you can see the heads are pitted. So the suctioning cuppy thing don't really work all that good. They don't work all that good to begin with, but they work less good when you can't really get a bite on it. But we'll give it a try. Notice I pick up on it. I don't know, it's an old trick they taught me when I first learned how to do this. They said you grind it for a little bit and until you start hearing it get smooth. This thing's kind of wandering on me a little bit. And when it gets so it sounds smooth, pick up on it a little bit and that'll drop. It'll drop the material back in there again. Like I said, this one wasn't so bad. That one's going to be, I think, I'll have to do a little grinding on that one. You hear how, when I did it a few times, now it gets more grindy sounded, Stop looking in the camera, Ed. It's a little tough because it's greasy, and like I said, it's pitted, so it doesn't really like to stay on there. I'm going to just do it this way. I think I'm about what I want to get with it. Anyway, so let's clean a little bit of the crud out of the way. I'm going to reach in here and pull this valve, push it up on the stem, pull it out. Now you guys can see there's a coating of compound. Notice that spot looks a little weird, but that could be just from where it pulled out. The truth will be when we take it and clean it off here, if we got any of the material off it. So, where are you guys? Here you are. So, definitely took off a lot of that crud. Still got a little bit, but right there, it's still pretty good. I like it. So now, like I said, this valve wasn't bad. This is what I've been doing. So you got a bunch of that crud, you know, that compound in here, and you don't want to keep that in there. Kind of look at the seat while you're in here too, making sure there's nothing crazy there. So I've just been using a little old WD here. Give it a little bath, even on the bottom of the valve here. Just rinse it off. Try to get some of that stuff out of there. Wipe it off with a dirty rag, so you put all the dirt back on. Yeah, I know. And then I just dip it in some oil, just to give that guide a little bit. So, one of the reasons I took this intake off was because I could not get the pins back in these. I really didn't want to take that intake off, but when I went to this valve, remember I took the magnet and pulled it out. I think if you guys saw me get the pin out of this. I don't know, maybe you didn't see me get the pin out. You saw me get the broken valve out though. Actually, you're not even in the shot. There you are. This valve. So when I took this valve out, I had a hard time getting that pin out. So, but all I used was a pry bar. So, because I had to get past the intake and everything. Well, now I can use the correct tool, and it makes life a little easier. So let's get the correct tool. Okay, that guy's got you kind of precariously perched, but here is the correct tool for the job. I got you zoomed in, so this works a lot better than the pry bar. So basically, to put one in is reverse of taking one out. All we're doing here is we're trying to get it underneath the valve spring and the keeper. We jack it up. You look for the hole. There's the hole. This wasn't in my way. Here. Might be able to do it a little easier. I can see it, I guess. So, this is what I'm looking at. I'm going to bring you guys in. Okay, where are we? Right there's the hole. Okay, you guys can see. And I'm going to try doing this one-handed. Look at that, success, one-handed. Right up in there, kind of feel like you centered it in the hole, and then all you got to do is release the clamp and she'll set right back down on it. Now I've already loosened these lifters, these tappets up. We'll have to go through and readjust all the tappets. I think it's 12 thousandths is the go-to on that. So cold. So let's see if I don't think I can do this one-handed. No, can't do it one-handed because you got to pull on the tool here. You got to pull the pin So, as you guys can see here, the tool is in there. So let's get the pin out. Okay, that one's down. Had to make a homemade tool. Actually, I had half of this wrench already ground down, but I'd cut it, so I had to extend it again. And then 9/16 seems to do the other part. Now we go back to our special tool again. And I wish it would stay up by itself. That would be sweet. Get in underneath the valve. Center on the top here. Squeeze her up. Now, the pin sometimes is a real pain in the butt to get out. So, the way I remove the pin on the other one is the fancy Nancy magnet. And being that I'm getting kind of close to the hole, that works very nicely. Plucks that right out of there. Okay, so now you can see where this seat is pitted so bad along this edge. Like I said, this seat is awful. I don't know. We're going to try our best and see if we can grind some kind of lip into that. But that's awful. So we'll see what we get. I'll bring you back. You won't watch me sit here and curse and swear at it. Well, maybe you do, but I'm not going to do it. Okay guys, well, this is the bottom of the valve. That looks pretty good. That didn't look so bad. There was that big goober right here. I got that pretty much ground out of there. And the way I've been testing these is just putting a little WD-40 on them, kind of holding the valve down and making sure that the juice stays around the edge. You can see like right here, the liquid is staying there. It's kind of running off here, but this is the high side. And then when you lift it up, it would all disappear. Before, it was all running down. So I knew that it was pretty messed up. So I feel a little more confident with that seat. It's definitely better than it was. So I'm gonna oil. Any oil on it? Oh yeah, I got oil on it. Oil up the end of that valve, drop it back in there, spin it around until we can find the hole, and continue on with the other three. We'll bring you back when we get them all done. Okay, so let's put the head gasket on. I got everything as clean as I can get it. So fits pretty good. Well, there's the head gasket on. Making sure all the holes kind of line up where they're supposed to. Looks good. Okay, so we're going to go in here and set these valves. And being that I have them at top dead center, I know that these ones are down, so I'm going to do these two cylinders first. As you guys might not be able to see because you're not in the shop, but those two cylinders are top dead center. My camera mount fell off. I'm having all kinds of trouble here. Oh, there you go. Maybe you guys can see now. So anyway, exhaust and yeah, very loose. Exhaust and intake on cold should be 12 thousandths. So let's just slip. See if I can get her in here. I was going to try to leave it in there. might work like that, sort of, kind of. Well, I can't do it that way. Well, let's tighten them up. Check it. That was 3 turns. That's about what I was taking them off. Getting better. It might be a little too tight. I have to come off just a wee bit. Yeah, I gotta force it in there, so we gotta come off just a little bit more. I'd say about there. It feels pretty good. She's dragging just a little. I might try to tighten up just a hair more. Yeah. And they said it's a go, no-go type situation, so you go with a 13. If you can't get the 13 in it, then you should be good. So I'm going to get the 13 out if I can. There we go. Okay, and there's the 13. And 13 shouldn't fit. Yeah, I can't barely wedge it in there. And the 12 goes in good. Okay, so that's one done. 11 more to go. So we'll try that again. Okay. Make sure we can keep this crap out of the way. It's going to be tricky. Okay, just thinking about it, probably going down crooked. I think I bumped you. Well, as you know, at the last second my memory card ran out. But anyway, you saw me tapping it down, and it's down. So now all I got to do is put the 10,000 nuts on it, and that's about it. The water collar, hook that back up again, and but I'll be honest with you guys, I'm kind of tired. I've been working on this thing all day. So, and in between I had to go up and help my neighbor take down a tree. So, been a busy boy. But anyway, I think we're going to cut this one here. Thanks for everybody watching, subscribing, commenting, and maybe the next one will be, will it run?